This is the Valley Today.
We begin the hour with local breaking news this morning. Firefighters are working to put out a fire in South Fargo called in early this morning. This is a live look from the 800 block of Countryside Trailer Park in Fargo. The fire was called in just after 4 a.m. and fire crews pulled up to a house fully engulfed in flames. As you can see, the flames have been put out, but it's still a very active scene. Firefighters confirm with our photographer on scene that no one was inside at the time and no one is hurt. They're still trying to determine if anyone was living within the home while it happened. Stay with us as we update this breaking news throughout the Valley today. Schools across the country are struggling with staffing troubles, everything from bus drivers to teachers, and it's been an issue in the Valley. West Fargo school board members are hoping they may have a solution as well. Last night, they unanimously approved a one-time stipend to give to all staff members. $500 for full-time educators working more than 30 hours a week, $400 for part-timers, and $250 for substitutes who worked within the district in 2021 and 2022 and the 22-23 school years. The stipend will come with no hikes on property taxes. It'll all be covered by pre-budgeted ESS/ER funds, which are awarded to school districts for financial impacts left over from COVID-19. Fargo school administrators are discussing a proposal similar to West Fargo's that will be taking place on September 27th. He was one of the faces of the 1997 flood disaster in the Northern Valley. Former East Grand Forks Mayor Lynn Stouse has died of kidney disease at the age of 77. He served as mayor for more than 2 decades and was instrumental in the city's flood fight and recovery. Funeral services are Friday at 11 a.m. at Hope Church in Grand Forks. 6:02 now, and time for a look at our storm team forecast with Lisa Green. Good morning.
Good morning. We're starting our day with some quiet weather, and it's dry out there and clear skies as well. So a good start to the day for heading out the door and getting to where you need to be here this morning. We're looking at downtown Fargo, looking nice and quiet. Temperatures into the 40s. It's 46 degrees in Fargo. So another morning where you may want the jacket earlier on in the day. It's Grand Forks at 50 and Jamestown at 50. Bemidji still hanging on to some 40s this morning at 41 currently. Devil's Lake is at 46 or rather Detroit Lakes is at 46 and Devil's Lake is at 51. So let's take a look at what's going on here. We've got a cold front draped through the valley. If you are in front of this front's kind of dropping from northwest to southeast. If you're ahead of this, down in the south, you're more likely to have that warmer air sticking around for a little while. Here today, those of us north of the front, we've already started to see that wind shift, and that cooler air will be taking over for you first today. So your temperatures are going to look a little different this afternoon than those in the south. You can see some clouds up to the north and west of us. Those will start to stream in with this as well. So here's a look at our planner for Fargo today. We'll see some off and on cloudiness, moments where we've got a lot of sun, and then other times where it's a little more cloudy, especially into the later afternoon and into the evening. And look at that temperature, 71 degrees today. Not bad at all, but compared to yesterday's high of 80, it will be a bit of a cool down. We'll see that wind turn northeasterly, steady speeds in the teens, and a bit of a breeze coming in for us today out of that northeasterly direction. That will pick up into some 20s. Now, I want to show you the chance for rain coming up this week as well, because this is what we'll be focusing in on as we head into tomorrow, especially tomorrow night, overnight, and into Thursday. Chances for rain will be ramping up, and that carries on heading into the weekend. So we're going to talk about that coming up. If you want to enjoy some drier weather and not have to worry about rain affecting you, today and during the day on Wednesday are going to be your best bets here. So we're going to talk more about the extended planner and the timing of all of this coming up here in just a couple of minutes.
All right, we'll be keeping our eye to the sky as the weekend approaches. Thank you so much for that update, Lisa. Time now is just about 6:05, where more than 100 veterans from the Red River Valley are waking up on their final day of the honor flight in Washington, D.C. And the Valley Today's Jordan Schreier is live in our nation's capital with what the veterans saw and what they can expect today. Good morning, Jordan.
Good morning, Ashlyn. Good morning, everyone back in the Red River Valley. It is a beautiful morning here in Washington, D.C. I am standing in the World War II Memorial. Take a look at that sunrise that we are seeing behind us here. That is the Washington Monument along with our nation's capital. It's amazing to see. Different side of the country, but hey, we're still looking at the same sun as we wake up together on this morning. You'll notice those flags are at half staff around the Washington Monument. That is because of Queen Elizabeth's death. The amazing thing about the city of D.C. is everywhere that you look, you can see another monument, another memorial. Like I said, we're at the World War II one. Washington behind it, the Capitol behind that one. If you just turned around, you would see the Lincoln Monument. We'll show you that a little bit later. But here at the World War II Memorial, what we are talking about is the states all represented with these pillars beside us, the Atlantic and the Pacific. And this is just one of the things these veterans have seen. They also saw the Navy Memorial the other day, the Air Force Memorial, along with Iwo Jima. Now, one of the most solemn places that we went with this group of 112 veterans, Arlington National Cemetery. We were lucky enough to witness the changing of the guard twice, and to say that it is a solemn occasion and something to see truly is an understatement. The seriousness that these guards take in guarding this tomb of the unknown soldier really makes a person think about how lucky we are to be in America and to be free. And lucky is how a lot of veterans are counting this trip, which is kind of bizarre to say because, if anything, they're the most deserving of this trip other than anybody else around. Now, that's what they say every time you meet them. They're so thankful for the support of the men and women back home in the Red River Valley who donated their funds so that way they could go on this honor flight. So let's hear from one of those veterans.
Yeah, it's pretty touching, you know. You don't even know some of this exists. You have no idea, you know. And the way we are honored today, it's a great privilege. And like behind me here, you know, what it's all about, you know. It's just, yeah. So I've been just really grateful, the trip, the hotels, all the food, the volunteers. It just goes on endlessly.
That guy was quite a character. He was great to talk to, and so were all of the other veterans that are on this flight. We've been lucky enough to visit with just about every single one of them. Now, later today, we are going to be going here to the World War II Memorial, as I mentioned. We are also going to be going to the Korean War Memorial, along with the Vietnam War Memorial. That's expected to be very emotional for a lot of these veterans. They are all from the Korean era or the Vietnam era, and either fought or served our country in some capacity. Now, we are going to have more of their stories later on tonight on Valley News Live. And Ashlyn, throughout the morning right here on the Valley today, we're going to be bringing you more of these heartfelt stories from veterans here on this honor flight.
Yes, stunning views to wake up to this morning and incredible coverage from our nation's capital this morning. Thank you so much, Jordan. Time now is 6:08 on our Tuesday. Words of an accused killer were the focus for 12 Fargo jurors yesterday in the third day of the Arthur Colley murder trial. He's accused of the brutal attack on 14-year-old Jupiter Paulson in a Fargo parking lot last summer. Valley News Team's crime and safety reporter Bailey Hurley gives us the latest.
Time and time again, jurors heard the same phrase come out of Arthur Colley's mouth in a June 4th interview with Fargo police detectives. Despite detailed accounts to detectives, putting himself at several locations across Fargo in the minutes and hours after prosecutors say Colley killed 14-year-old Jupiter Paulson. When asked if Colley was at the scene of the crime that morning, the Party City parking lot, Colley clammed up.
I have the clothes that you were wearing, okay? And they got blood all over it. Do you remember this? Arthur. Listen, you're super detailed about what's been going on here tonight. You seem like a decent enough guy.
Colley told detectives he had smoked meth the day before and sometimes talks to himself, both which he claims makes him not remember things. And when officers later left the room, cameras caught Colley talking and singing to himself.
Walking in the woods, walking in the woods, walking in the woods.
Colley told officers he threw his backpack away in the woods near downtown Fargo because he didn't need it anymore. Colley also denied knowing or ever seeing Paulson and told officers the cuts on his hands came from those same woods. An explanation prosecutors say, like all of his other statements, isn't true. Bailey Hurley, Valley News Live.
Testimony resumes this morning, and court officials expect it to be the last day for the state to call witnesses. It's still unclear if Colley will take the stand himself. It's 20 years in prison for a man who shot 3 people at a downtown Fargo bar last February. A judge sentenced 44-year-old Brandon Grant yesterday. You see him on your screen there. Security video shows him inside the Bismarck Tavern, where he was punched multiple times, then got involved in a fight. Grant then pulled out a handgun and shot the 3 men. People in the valley should take note if they're booking with Amtrak. For the first time in 30 years, America's railroad workers could soon strike and bring the nation's railways to a jarring stop. Railroads and unions are at odds over sick time and missed work penalties. And there's a Friday deadline looming. If freight workers strike, passenger trains will have to scale back or even shut down altogether. Amtrak is preemptively suspending service on some of its long-range routes, mostly out of Chicago, ahead of a possible freight rail strike. That's the route that serves North Dakota and Minnesota. Amtrak says it doesn't want cross-country passenger routes getting stuck during a so-called strike. Well, hotels are taking notice of their environmental impacts. So to come in the valley today, we're walking through what's believed to be the nation's first net zero hotel. And up next, weather to plan out your Tuesday and even look ahead to your weekend if you're already making plans. We'll be right back after the break.